Hey guys, how's it going? Michael here. New bike, and I am really excited about this one. This is my new motorcycle. It is a 2009 Kawasaki Concours 1400, or also known as the Concours GTRs. I looked at these bikes about 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, and at a dealership, and I really, really liked them. I liked kind of the looks of them, and I also like that this is a sporty bike, but it is also very comfortable, and it's a bike you can take on really long rides. And if you guys have watched my channel before, you know I'm a big fan of red. When I saw this one pop up for sale on Facebook Marketplace, I looked at it, and the first thing that came to me was like, wow, this thing is in pristine condition. I don't know if you guys can fully see like this on camera. Hopefully you can, but the paint is just really in immaculate condition. I have ceramic coated the bike. I give it a full detail and ceramic coated it when I got it. But this bike was really clean, even when I got it. Like the guy that had it prior to me, uh, or the first owner, I should say, PPF the whole bike. It has PPF all on here. This is the only area you can kind of see the PPF starting to peel up, but I can replace that. So it's got PPF all over the saddlebags here, which is really nice because like when you tend to get on these bikes, sometimes your foot will hit this area right here, just because you have to lift your feet so high. It's got PPF all over here, but this is a 2009. It's got 39,000 miles on it. I have all of the services that were done to the bike. And I actually spoke with the original owner. So I bought this bike off of the second owner. The second owner had only had the bike for it's like 3 months or something along those lines. It was an older gentleman. He bought the bike, and he also had an FJR 1300. And he said he just couldn't get on this bike because it sat higher and it's a bit wider than the FJRs. So he sold it, or he put it up for sale, and this gentleman was about 2.5 hours away from me. I went up and looked at it, and the second I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is the bike." It's also ran beautifully. You know, I had the gentleman leave it cold for me so I could get a cold start. But this thing is perfect. It's got some tasteful modifications on it. I'm not going to need to really do a ton to this thing, but it does have a Delcovic slip-on exhaust. It is stock headers. It also has bar risers. It has some little Concours 14 just reservoir covers on the brake and clutch side, and you can kind of see that, which is nice. And you can also see how clean this thing is. No scratches anywhere. I think on the whole thing I've found like 2 rock nicks, and there's one on the windshield, which is obviously that's from a rock. But overall, just immaculate condition. It does have a Lee Bailey's windscreen. If you guys know these bikes, Lee Bailey's is a aircraft plastics company. They're no longer manufacturing windshields, so you can't really get these anymore. I don't know what the value is on these windscreens, to be honest, because I haven't really seen any of them for sale. But it is a nice windscreen. It blocks a lot of wind on the highway. I do want to get some sort of windscreen where it has a vent in the middle, because this windscreen on the highway, like you're not getting a lot of breeze to you, so it can get pretty hot. But the bike has some frame sliders. It has RNG plugs on it as well. Right here, these are kind of just for decoration. It's got more sliders here. The gentleman put kind of sliders all over it. It's got sliders on the front wheel as well. And you can just see how clean the whole bike is. Can't really see the headers, but the wheels are spotless. The inside of the engine casing, as far as I can see, like in there, is also spotless. So I spoke to the original owner because his information was on a lot of the paperwork that I have for the bike, and I was able to get in touch with him. He informed me the bike was only really ridden in the rain twice. He said he had it on a few long trips, but overall he took very good care of the bike, and that I think shows through. considering this is a 15-year-old-ish bike, 14, 15-year-old-ish bike. It just looks immaculate. So this is a 1400cc, kind of similar motor to what the ZX14 has. There are some big differences though. This has variable valve timing and the ZX14 does not. These are not forged pistons like the ZX14 has either. So there's a few key differences. This bike is tuned by Should've-Been or Should've-Been tuning. I haven't really driven one of these stock before, but from everything I've read, the stock ones tend to be kind of twitchy on throttle when you first get on it. And then it also seems like they sometimes are just not really torquey until you get higher up in the rev range. This bike, I mean, this thing has torque all over. It has low torque, mid-range, and high-end torque. Easily cruises on the highway at 120 miles an hour, and you'll think you're doing like 60 miles an hour. So it is kind of scary in that aspect of how easily it cruises at such a fast speed. But this is, I put 150 or 160 miles on the bike so far when I rode it home from buying it. And then you probably can't see outside right now, but it has been raining in South Florida for the past 2.5, 3 days, which really sucks because I've wanted to go on some cruises with this thing, but I haven't been able to because it is downpouring in Florida currently. But the bike has had all the maintenance done. There's been the gentleman who owned the original owner, the guy who really owned this bike for its whole life. He did oil changes and changed the rear shaft drive fluid every 3,000 miles ish. He said he went over that a few times, but it was only when he was on like a tour or something along those lines. You know, big key tellers, like when you're looking at these bikes or just bikes in general, how clean the engine casing is. This one's spotless. You know, he told me he did change out the shift lever as well, the bearing, I guess, for the this footrest here, or for the shift lever, and just basic maintenance was done. The bike valves were checked, you know, and plugs have been changed at 15,000. So this bike will probably need some bigger maintenance, like plugs, valves possibly. It's kind of back and forth on the forums on these bikes if you should even bother with the valves or not. But he did tell me, he's like, hey, if I still own the bike, I would definitely do clutch and brake fluid, so and coolant. So I'm gonna do the clutch, brake fluid, and then also the coolant here probably in the next few months. The bike has a pretty fresh oil change on it as well, so but I'll probably change that in the next 1,000 or so miles, just because I like to run multiple 7100T on all my motorcycles. So because I do personally think it makes the bikes run better and they run smoother, along with other benefits. So I'll be changing out the oil here probably in the next month or two on that. But everything else, this bike is like my perfect bike. So I got this. But if you guys have never ridden one of these bikes, highly recommend to go ride one. They look like an old man bike to some people. I think it looks kind of cool. I love the front end on these things. The other thing too is that this is not handle like an old man bike. With how big this thing is, you know, you kind of look at it and you're like, that thing probably handles like crap. These things lean over and they want to be on their sides. Like they love to lean. They love to lean over. Even with two people on it, these things handle absolutely amazing. They love canyon carving from what I've read. They love just cruising on the highway at 120 miles an hour with one hand on the handlebar. They'll do it with no problem. It's a very versatile bike. I've seen guys take it to a track. You can ride them hard. You can ride them around town at the speed limit. You can really do whatever you want with these things, and they are cool. These bags do come off. So let me get the key. This is a key that was a little spare key that was made for this. So the bike came with bag liners, which are really nice. So I did get these. They're called Bestim Concours, and they have the Concours 14 logo on there. Bag liners. So that's pretty neat. The first owner did put these little clips on here, which go underneath the handle on the bag, and they hook onto the rear rack, the rear railing right here. These are important because I have seen some people lose these, and what'll happen is there's a little latch. You can see it. There's a little latch right here. This latch hooks onto a piece of plastic underneath, and sometimes if these handles tend to come up if the bag's not properly locked or whatnot, this whole bag can, in theory, just fly off. So it's nice to have these handles and make sure, the bag is staying secure. So since this is a 2009, it is not the redesigned body fairings like the 2010 Pluses have. The 2010 Pluses, they redesigned the fairings where the venting came out a little more forward, and they're larger vents, so the air was supposed to vent out a lot more forward from the rider, so the rider didn't feel so much heat. That's one complaint you hear about the 2008, 2009s. And I will say, the heat is definitely a thing on these bikes, for sure. Would I tell you to not buy one if you can find a really good deal on it because it's 2008, 2009? No. First off, it is going to be something that is going to take you a little time to get used to, because the big thing I noticed are sitting at stoplights and things like that is the heat that comes from here. That is, it comes in and down here, and it kind of pushes against your lower leg. That's where you really feel the heat. I don't think it's super bad. So when I rode this bike home, it was easily the heat index was like 102, 103. So any bike is hot at those temperatures. I don't care if you're riding a naked inline four, they're hot. I mean, maybe if you ride a little 125, you're not going to feel the heat off of that. But if you're riding any larger bike, 2-cylinder or more, you're going to feel the heat the engine generates, because you got a big engine under here. I mean, 1351 cc engine that is making some heat for sure. So I got this bike for a good deal, and I wanted a really clean example of a concourse. I looked at 2011s, 2012s, 2010s that were in so much worse shape than this, that you can tell when a bike hasn't been taken care of. People haven't detailed it. People leave the bikes outside. They're not garage kept. I wanted a really clean example of a concourse, because my other motorcycle is my Z900 RS, and this bike I bought brand new. It's in perfect condition. The paint's immaculate on it. It's always been garage kept. So I wanted something that can kind of go in my garage that kept a similar concept as far as being very clean and just looked very nice. So let me just show you guys here real quick. So these bikes come with a keyless transponder known as the KaiPath system or KPath system. This is a system that Mitsubishi actually helped develop for Kawasaki, or Kawasaki bought the technology to it. I can't remember exactly what. But all you do to start the bike, this key always stays in the bike. You can have this in your pocket. I think it has to be within, it's either 3 feet or 5 feet of the bike. You just press in, and then you turn it, and the bike's ready to fire. So this bike also has, for 2009, it does have ABS. That was an option in 2009. So the owner that bought this brand new, he opted for the ABS, which is pretty cool. The electronic windshield, which is pretty neat. So all the way up, the thing's high. I'm 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", and this blocks like 100% of the wind almost. You get some wind from the sides, but and if you leave it too low, even at like 30, 40 miles an hour, you get, or I would say anything over 45 miles an hour, if you leave this windshield in its lowest position at my height, I get a lot of wind buffeting at my head. So I'm going to start the bike for you guys so you can hear it with that exhaust and the tune on it. But yeah, so without drawing this video out too long, this is just an overlook of my new to me 2009 Kawasaki Concours. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comment box. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't see a ton of people making videos on these things anymore, so I'll be getting some riding videos with my Insta360, and it should be a really fun bike to add to the channel and add to my garage. Thanks for watching, guys.